Okay, I'm done washing the dishes, but my fingers are still wrinkly, so I don't want to type at the moment. So I'm just gonna read yet another Tumblr post. This one is from August 30th, 2025. Somebody named Blume, I don't know how you pronounce it, Blume, I'll say it like that, sent me an ask saying, IDK if you've talked about this already, but what's your opinion on the alien remnants in the Murderbot series? It's never really elaborated, and then in parentheses, I think. What happens with remnants that get studied, or what's the deal with aliens as a whole? What happened to them? Are the remnants from the same species, etc.? And also the fact that Murderbot doesn't give a fuck about them unless it endangers the humans. It's really annoying that they're used as plot device, but never integrated into the world building. So my response was, thanks for the question. I haven't been able to talk about it in any detail, because as you said, there is no detail. I've read all the stories in this series, including the ones that don't have Murderbot at all, Data Ghost 2025, Obsolescence 2018, and there's still no elaboration or even a basic explanation in any way. And I'll tell you why. She's just ripping off the Alien franchise, but not bothering to do any of the world building that goes on in the Alien franchise. A thing I only realized while playing Alien Isolation, and realizing that the more I was thinking about the Alien series, suddenly, like magic, what's supposedly going on in the Murderbot Diaries makes sense. Because she's writing it like it's shitty Aliens fanfiction, where she's not doing any actual exposition or world building, as though this is listed on Archive of Our Own as an Aliens fanfic summarized as, no xenomorph AU, what if David decided to protect the crew of the Prometheus? There's no world building in this series at all, including basic character descriptions, because she's writing it like it's fanfiction. Alien, Prometheus 2012, and Covenant 2017 both established the backstory of how xenomorphs came to be, which I think is absolute cowardly bullshit, but that's beside the point. The point is xenomorphs are the result of what I call xenomorph goop. It's a black swirly thing like tiny dust particles that mutates things it comes in contact with. If we go along with these movies, some big gray aliens. Ringing a bell? Remember how the alien remnants were turning people gray and compelling them to build specific types of buildings? Who were also the reason life exists on Earth with human beings made in their image. There's a whole thing going on about Christianity and David the android getting to see his creators meet their creators going on. Created the xenomorph goop, and were using it in weapons by dropping it as bombs to kill people, a thing it did almost instantly to the big gray aliens, but for humans, it caused a whole lot of mutations and other stuff. The alien remnants in the Murderbot Diaries is a very blatant ripoff of the same concept, and we know Martha Wells has watched these movies because she goes around telling people this. The reason Book 3 takes place on an abandoned space station is because of Alien Isolation. The fact that she's ripping off the Alien franchise, but then refusing to do any actual world building in regards to what she's ripping off, is also the whole entire reason they're on a survey planet in Book 1 in the first place. You notice how we literally never got, and still haven't gotten, a single explanation for what preservation was doing there? It's because Martha Wells didn't bother to think of a reason, because of course they have to be on a survey planet. That's how people die in an alien movie. And so we never got an explanation, even though the reason was supposedly good enough, in the minds of preservation, to justify becoming slave owners. Also, remember how that planet was absolutely covered in alien life? That again got zero description or world building all? Bird things, plant-like things, graboid-like things? But somehow none of those count as alien enough for alien remnants, and then the whole entire rest of the series never goes to another planet like that again, in the desperate hopes that we'll all just forget that there is alien life in this universe outside of these completely undescribed alien remnants. The idea that something can only get an explanation if the narrator personally cares about it is doing a lot of heavy lifting for excusing Martha Wells' shit writing in this series, LOL. She's not doing any world building, she's not even giving us basic character descriptions, she's not giving us any expositions, and people keep excusing the objectively bad writing by claiming, well, Murderbot just doesn't care. That makes sense. even though Murderbot's supposed to be the exact sort of character that should be obsessing over every detail around it. It's supposed to be hypervigilant and obsessed with protecting people. So how am I supposed to believe it? Just makes sense for it to never do any research on the supposedly extremely dangerous alien remnants. Especially after that was what almost got everyone killed in book 1? We don't know anything about the alien remnants because it's badly written, as though it's bad fanfiction. In parentheses, good fanfiction would still be exploring these ideas and going into detail on them, LOFL, end parentheses. And since people keep enabling her bad writing, Martha Wells is just getting worse since starting the series, not better. See Witch King. So yeah, long post short. We don't get any details in the alien remnants because the series is written like very bad alien fanfiction. We will probably never get more information than we have now. If you want to at least be able to grasp what is supposed to be going on, you have to go and watch Alien Prometheus and Covenant horror movies, as though by reading the Murderbot Diaries you knowingly signed up for reading bad fanfiction from a source material you haven't watched yet, even though you were never warned this is fanfiction for a source material you haven't watched yet. That's not a satisfying answer, but it is, unfortunately, the truth. We could all sit around and make up things to make the alien remnants make sense, but Martha Wells is getting paid for this shit, and we're not. It's not supposed to be our job to do the most basic writing necessities for the series. But yeah, unfortunately, there's really not much to say aside from pointing out that it's just badly written alien fanfiction, because I'm not getting paid to do the world building that Martha Wells is supposed to be doing. If this were actually well written and already fleshed out, I'd love to speculate further, but at this point, I'd just be doing more work than I should for free for a book series I've paid for. There's really no satisfying answer here. Just don't let the series make you forget there was alien life on the planet in book 1, and we're also supposed to be totally fine with all of these people, who we're supposed to think are good people, endangering entire planetary ecosystems through literal space colonization. Yeah, that's the post. And I just added on now that, yeah, literally nobody should ever be expected to do fucking homework for what is being literally sold to them for exorbitant prices as an original series. As we shouldn't have to, people shouldn't have to watch the Alien movies, which are horror movies, which is not even remotely the same genre that the Murderbot Diaries is supposed to be in. Nobody should have to go and watch an entire series of horror movies just to understand what's supposed to be happening in the Murderbot Diaries. Just because the Murderbot Diaries is literally written like it's shitty fanfiction, except, like, it's literally written like shitty fanfiction for a source material that none of us have read. But, like, I've read fanfiction for things where I didn't know the source material because somebody I knew wrote it and it sounded like an interesting premise. I go into those knowing that I'm not going to understand what's going on because I haven't read the source material. But nobody who signed up to literally pay for the Murderbot Diaries was ever told that this is, as I said, a no xenomorphs AU where David decides to protect the crew of the Prometheus. That's pretty much what this is. It's a no xenomorph AU where David decides to protect the crew of the Prometheus. If you watch Prometheus, yeah, that's she's ripping that off, but it's like, okay, but this isn't supposed to be fan fiction. We're paying money for this. This is supposed to be original fan fiction. Why aren't you doing your goddamn job as the author and doing the actual world building? We shouldn't, people who want to read the Murderbot Diaries, which is marketed as a fucking comedy, shouldn't have to go and watch horror movies just to understand what is supposed to be happening in this supposedly original series that with its supposed original world building. But it's not actually original. It's just shitty fan fiction and nothing more. And I'm not saying that lightly either, but like I literally should not have had to play Alien Isolation just to realize what was actually supposed to be going on in this series, because it's literally just written as though it is shitty alien fan fiction. It's literally a no xenomorph AU, where David decides to protect the crew of the Prometheus. Alright, bye-bye.